Got some trends starting to develop in the men's best-on-best tournament at the Olympic Winter Games. Darren Millard along with John Shannon. It's 100% hockey. Ken Hitchcock will join us in just a little bit. We'll break down Canada's latest performance, another victory, as they improved to 2-0. Now have outscored their opposition 10-1. Other winners, Finland victorious, Slovakia also on the winning side of the things. Starting to just some separation in the tournament.
Plus, I think the biggest story of the day, other than Canada for our fans, is that the Finns beat the Swedes.
Yeah.
Because we were all disappointed the way the Finns started the tournament with the loss to Slovakia. And we were all quite frankly disappointed the way the Swedes started the tournament with the way they played. And so obviously now those two teams who are vicious rivals, have been vicious rivals for eternity, and certainly on the ice, it's created some more drama certainly in that pool. But in the end, it all works out. I mean, we're surprised that the Slovaks only beat the Italians by 1. I don't know about you, but that surprised me. And the French gave the Czechs a scare until the start of the third period, which is good. There's been lots of excitement on the ice, Darren, through the first 3 days, that's for sure.
Competition's been closer than other years. We haven't had one of those massive blowouts.
I think that's because the pool of hockey players is deeper. I think that this, in many ways, and I've said it before, is the deepest, talented hockey tournament we've ever seen at a Winter Games. Some people would argue that Torino was like that, but I think this one is even deeper than that when you consider how many quality players exist on the 12 teams. I mean, other than Italy, everybody has some NHLers. And that's, I think that's a really big factor in how good these teams have become. The Danes and the Germans are good teams, and we've seen what the Swiss can do. And let's face it, the Finns and the Swedes are an important factor in the National Hockey League on a daily basis. So this is a deep, deep tournament, and this preliminary round is one where everybody's still trying to get a feel for what they are and who they are. And at least at this point, Canada looks pretty impressive, and they're pretty comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, Swiss have enjoyed great results at the World Championship recently. And remember, in 2006, what knocked Canada off stride was Martin Gerber's shutout of Team Canada coming off the 2002 Olympic gold medal by Canada. Yeah,
2-0. The Swiss won there. There's lots of ways to look at that 2006 team for Canada. Darren, were we too loyal? Did we get too old and too slow compared to other countries? Some would say so. And obviously, as you know, in Canada, when you lose, there's a lot of navel gazing. And that went on, and that's probably one of the reasons why 2010 was so successful for Canada, because a lot of time and effort was put into making sure that they had the right team. And dare I say, I think that we're not in that same scenario this time around from last Olympics, but I think that Doug Armstrong and his crew have spent a lot of time in the last year since Four Nations of studying exactly what this team needed, the depth that it had, and how the coaching staff and the management staff could get together and agree on what type of game Canada would play.
What does this tell you? McDavid, Celebrini, Crosby, McKinnon, and Harley, Canada's goal scorers in Game 2.
Well, that we are getting a little more from the blue line than people expected. If you're getting a goal, Cale Makar was great again today, more ice time than anybody else. Helped set up one of the goals. But, you know, I mean, every one of those names, Darren, is a star. They are stars.
A couple of superstars in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least there's this. We know there's 30 superstars in the NHL. So, but sorry, couldn't resist. So that part of it, when you and so much depth. You can't help but marvel at the depth of this team, and that kind of depth allows John Cooper to move Nathan MacKinnon from his own line to align with McDavid and Celebrini, and Tom Wilson goes to the wing on a line that Nick Suzuki now moves from the wing to center, and it proved to be a stroke of genius. It changed the pace, and it almost was one of the reasons why these preliminary games work the way they do, because they started to find a niche, and it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. And right now it looks like some of those pieces are fitting together better than others.
I got one for you, but first we'll slide over to Ken Hitchcock and we'll break down Team Canada and also what happened in the other significant game involving Finland and Sweden. It's best on best to 100% hockey with Millard and Shannon.
NHL TV is now on DAZN. Hockey lives here.
Here we go.
Watch every game from every team. The best players in the world. And the coldest plays on ice. Watch up to 4 games at once for the ultimate NHL experience. Sign up now at DAZN.
Here he is back with the coach, Ken Hitchcock. And Ken, you've been doing this now a few shows. What's your impression of the grasp that John has on technology before we get into the hockey part of it?
Well, he's better than me, but he's not great.
So you, when you go back and coach in the NHL, I'm not going to be your video coach, Hitch?
No. I'm not going back to the NHL either.
Can you imagine being on the radio asking John if it was offside or not? Do we challenge?
You need 12 timeouts.
Hey, this is getting a little personal.
A little one-sided, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like what Canada's experienced so far. Canada improving to 2-0 at today's play. We talked about it a little bit, but just what you saw today, Ken, change of the top line with McDavid being joined by McKinnon and Celebrini, but you also have some great chemistry by the looks of it with Sidney Crosby, Mitch Marner, and Mark Stone. I
just thought Canada played like a team that's committed to do all the hard stuff. They were, they score 4 goals down low. They managed the puck. They made adjustments from the second to the third period on their exits and counters. I thought they played. The Swiss is a hard team. They're a collective group of guys that have played a lot together. They're a hard team to play against. I thought Canada did a great job. I thought they did all the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat package. They did it all, and I was even more impressed with Canada in this game than I was against the Czechs.
Do you think there was a plan all the time, Ken, that Nathan was going to join Connor McDavid at some point in this tournament?
I don't think you think like that, John. Like I said to you before, chemistry is instant, and you either have it or you don't. And if you don't, then you go look for it. And they looked for it. They found it. I thought Wilson was good down the lineup. He was effective. I thought the adjustments were great. I thought the in-game adjustments were great, and the players did all the hard things and scored all the hard and went into all the hard areas and won the battles. And you got to give the team a lot of credit for the way they're playing right now.
So you've got 3 of the top 4 point producers in the National Hockey League on one line with that Connor McDavid unit. It doesn't always work out when you put players like that. Chemistry is one thing, but skill level, tactically, why do you think it's so effective right now?
Because they go into the hard areas. It's simple. Like you watch them play and look at the goals. They're attacking the net. They're taking it into the paint. There's second, third effort goals. It's all the things that you like in a worker. You get with a worker with that skill level, and it's really impressive, to be honest with you, to see this team play like this, to see the top players play like this, it's fun to watch, to be honest with you.
How much different was this game to the Czech game?
I thought the Swiss checked really hard. I thought the Swiss played as hard as they could play. They don't have a lot of finishers, but they got a lot of good players, and they've won together. They lost to the Americans, a lot of this group in the World Championships. They won nothing. They know how to win. And I thought Canada took them right out of the game by the way they played. I think they gave them fits because the way they controlled the puck down low. There were some adjustments that Canada had to make, and for the third period, they made them. And I was like, the Swiss they're a good team, but I thought Canada was just willing to do all the hard stuff again, second game in a row.
When you talk about adjustments they made, what did you see that they changed in the third period?
I don't want to get into that because that's coach speak, and you broadcasters belong on the outside of that stuff.
Can you tell us, was it leaving their zone? Was it in the O zone? Where did you see the biggest tweak?
It was when they had the puck.
Okay. Which is a lot of the time.
Yeah. You want them to carry the puck, don't you?
Just their puck support changed in the third period, and they did a great job with the adjustment they had needed to make. They made it, and they were very successful because of it.
Was it something that you expected to be dealt with from the second to the third? Because the Swiss did play a strong second period.
And that's an awful good coaching staff. Like that's a hell of a coaching staff. So they if I'm seeing it, I know they're seeing it. So they obviously noticed it and made that adjustment right away. Very impressive.
How hard is it to spread the minutes around, Hitch? Just because you've got the 20 skaters.
It's not, Darren, because if you look at the shift lengths, they're not 45 seconds. They're 30 seconds. Okay. So the shifts are shortened up. So you're getting more guys on the ice. You're getting more players connected. But when you play that international game at a high tempo, the speed is so strong that you can't play for 45 seconds. You have to shorten up your shifts, and they're doing it and keeping their energy high. Just the way they're controlling their ice time is equally impressive also.
Curious your thoughts on what the Canadian defense looked like, because there were times, because as you talked about the play down low, did you notice the defense as much as we did in the Czech game?
I thought they were really composed today. I thought they were really composed. And I thought they gave no time and space down low in their zone. You know, the Swiss had some scoring chances, but teams are going to get that. But they took away time and space really quickly. I think their composure as a group back there has been really good to see. And, you know, they're going to get tested big time as this tournament moves along, but I thought their composure was really strong tonight again.
Connor, what did you see in the second Olympic performance?
Goes into all the hard areas to score, hangs around him, willing to battle. He's got the puck. He's taken the puck into the blue paint as much as anybody on any team right now, and that's why he's so successful. He's doing all the hard things that don't show up in the score sheet. He's doing them all, and that's what you want in good players.
It looks like he's more physical than he is on a night-to-night basis in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that goes unnoticed, and he's doing it. And there's a lot of guys doing it, but he's leading the charge, I'll tell you that.
There was a great sequence at the end near the end of the first period when it looked like obviously McKinnon had joined McDavid's line, and Crosby's out to take the face-off, and John decides to change and put the McKinnon, Celebrini, and McDavid back out. And Sid doesn't flinch. He says, "Okay, I'm going to the bench, and it's their turn." And in Pittsburgh, he would almost demand to take that face off, but in this game, it's not that way. It's just, he feels he's part of the team. That's part of that chemistry you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, and he knows how to do it. He's done it before. He knows how to lead properly in big time competition, and none of that surprises me with him. He's just that type of person. He gives it up for the team every time in international play.
So if you were going to put Tom Wilson somewhere else, was that the natural place for him, just to switch spots on the lines?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an effective guy. Like, you don't think the word is going to reverberate around as don't go near this guy because you might like mm-hmm. he was a better contributor down the lineup than he was up the lineup, in my opinion. He was very effective down the lineup, and he's not an easy guy to play against.
Can you just talk us through that statement about why you're effective down the lineup?
Well, because a lot of times there's a puck control line and then there's a chip and chase dump, and he's really good at the chip and chase game. Mm-hmm. He gets on top of people. He creates havoc. He gets to loose pucks, and that's what he did. He got to all the loose pucks. He banged into some people. He got their attention. It was not easy or fun playing against the guy, but he had to have players that played with him that played the similar way. So that line, to me, when he went down the lineup, he was more effective than he was up the lineup.
What would the conversation have been like for John Cooper and his staff with Brad Marchand to say, "Brad, you're not playing, Seth is"? How would that have gone?
No, I don't think that's a big deal. I think you.
Oh no, I'm not suggesting it is. I'm just, these guys, and we've talked about this, even since the selection of the team, Ken, is that these guys, you've talked about checking your ego at the door all the time, but they still have egos.
John, it's a long tournament, and with veteran players, it's really long. So giving this guy a rest right now is going to do nothing but help the team later on. So give him a day off, especially off back-to-backs, is a good idea. And then comes back and loads up and gets ready to play the next game.
Who's jumped out to you? Maybe not like the Crosby or McKinnon, but somebody else down the lineup that's impressed you?
Well, obviously Celebrini. I've been really impressed as this thing's moved on with the recent ads. Suzuki, Horvat, these guys they're dug in and really contributing. So I think, to me, what's really helped a lot is the new players are contributing in a big way, and that's made the team even deeper.
Actually, when you talk about Suzuki, he might be more effective back at his regular spot, a center, rather than being on the wing. Correct?
I don't want to get into who's playing where, but all I know.
But when they moved McKinnon went to the wing. Wilson went back to the wing. So Suzuki moved from the wing to center. That's pretty obvious, right?
I've always thought that McKinnon with speed is a really good winger, because he can get up ahead of the puck. He can break ahead of the play. So when you play him with McDavid, that's a very effective line, because you got somebody controlling the puck and somebody breaking ahead. You're going to be 1 inch away from giving up breakaways just like they were today.
So through 2 games, is Canada at the level you expect them to be at, or ahead of the pace?
I would say ahead of the pace, to be honest with you. I would say you can't, no matter what country you're with, no matter who you're cheering for, you can't help but be impressed with the way they've played so far in the first 2 games. And the Americans have played really well too. So to me, those teams have stood out more than anybody right now, and in a big fashion. And they've both played to their potential. Now the Americans got to play. It's a different schedule they have, but Canada's had two countries that were thinking maybe they could get a medal this year, and they beat two countries pretty badly. On those countries thinking, well, we got a chance at a medal, but Canada's stuffed that right away, right, just with their play and their sacrifice and the way they're contributing and the way they're competing for each other. They've done a hell of a job.
We haven't talked about Logan Thompson, who was very good, really strong, and made some pretty good saves early in the game when everybody, I think, had their eyebrows raised with the Swiss speed, correct?
Yeah, he's been good. He was really good today. I mean, he's quick, he's agile, he's really competitive in the net. So Canada goes from having guesswork or Binnington only, they got options now. And, I'm sure Binner's going to probably get the next game or whatever, but they got options now, and they've got strength because Kemper's a world-class goalie too. So that's not a weakness of position anymore. That's a strong part of their game right now, both guys.
So gut feeling, like, is it Binner's net? He gets the next one and then carries that through? Is that the way you see the plan going?
I don't know what they're going to do there. I really don't. All I know is they got some good options now. They're not hoping. They got good options, and they'll be looking at everything. But they got some options now that maybe people think they didn't have before, but they do now.
Let's take a break. Come back more with Ken Hitchcock on 100% Hockey. It's Best on Best with Millard and Shannon.
Car shopping should be exciting, not exhausting. That's where Car Gurus comes in. They have advanced search tools, unbiased deal ratings, and price history, so you know a great deal when you see one. It's no wonder that Car Gurus is the #1 rated car shopping app in Canada. When you're car shopping on your phone, it shouldn't be a maze. You need to see all the information. With the Car Gurus app, you can. Powerful search tools that you see deal ratings, price history, and dealer reviews on listings all in one place. And you can turn on real-time price drop alerts so you never miss a great deal. Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent, hassle-free buying process. Buy your next car today at cargurus.ca. Make sure your deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.ca. cargurus.ca.
John, I'll give it right back to you. You're about to say something.
I was actually going to ask about the events of the last 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. A freak accident, a collision. Kevin Fiala for the Swiss, obviously a serious injury, goes off the ice. Everyone is concerned, both teams on the ice concerned. As a coach, how do you manage and try to cope and help your players go through the emotion of an event like that?
Well, this is the heartbreak that you go through. You got a regular season to play. You're trying to get in the playoffs. He's a very important player for LA. These are tough situations. You got to let it rest for a day and get all the information so you know what's going on. But man, these are your worst nightmares. That's what this is right now. The worst nightmare you can find. I hate seeing. My heart just sank when I saw that, and I'm sure the players and the coaches on both teams felt the same way. But that's tough when you lose a good player like that, and you're not sure when he's going to come back.
I don't know what the coverage you saw, but showed it. But it looked like Drew Doughty was trying to get as close as he could to the stretcher with Fiala going off the ice. LA King teammate trying to say something to his buddy going off the ice. But that'd be hard too.
Oh boy, there's your teammate, and he's a big time player for LA. Big time player.
What was your reaction to what Finland was able to do today against Sweden?
That's the Finnish game. Frustration.
Mm-hmm.
They frustrate you. They're in your face. They stay in your face. They won't give up. And when they play that game, they're very, very effective, and they're hard to play against. And man, they played a heavy game today, really heavy game. And it's not fun to play against them when they're dialed in like that. I don't care what country you are. I don't care where you're from. When they play that commitment like they did today to checking, and as hard as they played, that's hard to play against.
How do you explain the difference in the way they played from the game against the Slovaks to the game against the Swedes?
But you think you have chemistry, but you don't know until they made some line changes, and you think you have chemistry, but you don't really know until you get into competition. I just think one game and then they dialed it up, and then they started dialing it up, and now, those two countries don't really like each other, and when the Finns get locked in like that, they're hard to play against, and they were locked in. They were all committed, and they looked like the team that everybody expected them to be. So, to me, if they play like that, they're going to be a hard out, boy. They're going to be a hard out in this tournament.
Do you have a handle on Sweden or Finland after two games, both being 1-1?
No, not yet. But if Finland plays to their potential like they just did, they're going to not be fun to play against.
Penalties, though, Hitch, it looked like they took too many minors, so giving Sweden 6 power play opportunities. That would concern me a little bit.
Yeah, but when you're they play on the edge, that team. And when you're on the edge, sometimes it goes off the rails a little bit, but they did a great job killing them off. And I just think that's the Finnish team that you don't want to play against if you're playing against them.
So one of those teams, I guess we're still not clear on who's going to win that pool at all, Pool B. But we all know the teams are going to play a qualification game if they don't win their pool. That's what you guys went through in Vancouver in 2010. You had to play that extra qualification game. In the end, is that a detriment to the way the team's going to play the second week of the tournament, or is that a good thing, or does it really matter? Because I've contended the European teams know this better than we do in North America, because we're used to playing and winning. They're used to progressing through these tournaments all the time. Where do you sit on what that means and how this tournament's set up?
I remember talking to the coaching staff at the end of the tournament, and everybody said playing that extra game did nothing but help us. It gave us extra time from coordination standpoint, chemistry standpoint. It did nothing but help us. It set us up for the balance of the tournament. And I think all the coaches felt the same way.
So that was the qualification game, I think, was against Germany, right?
Yeah.
I think it was against Germany, and then you played the Russians the next night, correct?
Yeah. That was the best period of hockey I've ever seen a team play, was that first period against the Russians.
Yeah, it just took them out of the tournament.
Yeah.
And was that emotion that allowed your team to do that in Vancouver?
Yeah, and intensity and emotion, whatever you want to call it, but we were dialed in, and our chemistry was dialed in. We knew the combinations we were going to play with, and we went to a whole other level. It was actually, if you're in opposition, I was thinking if I was coach of another country, I'd be really nervous watching us play that first period.
You knew that right then?
Well, we knew we were up at another level that no one could reach.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to keep it there as much as we could.
All right, so you are now through, as you call, the snake pit. You've done your mix zone stuff after the game. John Cooper's has talked. The players have talked. Tomorrow is an off day for your team. light skate tomorrow? What do you think happens, and what would you do?
We never skated very much at all, so I'm not sure what the coaches are going to do. But you know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is a chance to be an Olympian. So you can go and do the things at the Olympics, at the village, at the facilities that you won't be able to do after that day. So go be an Olympian. That's what's really important. You want to be part of the country, that's your chance. Go to an event or sit and visit with other athletes, hang out with each other, do whatever you want to do, but be an Olympian. You get one day to be an Olympian, that's the day.
They've got the public transportation down, Pat. You see the video of that? Them taking the subway was cool.
Yeah.
Well, when you wear your accreditation, it's free, so it's good.
You look around, you got Team Canada's hockey team on the same tram as you. Like that's a pretty cool thing for the locals, I would think, along with the guys. And I love what Sid said. I don't know what the big deal is about us taking public transportation, but we did it.
Yeah. Well, that's the part you love to be. You hang out together. You do things that you never get to do in the NHL regular season. You get to do them for a day. So I'm sure you're going to see them at different events tomorrow.
Who did you hang out with, or who did you get to know at your Olympic experiences?
You know who I got to know the most was Lindy Ruff. We were roommates a couple of years. He's a funny guy, and I like hanging with Lindy. And we all had our little groups, and we all had our jobs to do. But Lindy and I hung out a lot together. Claude Julien, they were fun guys to be around.
Well, you and Lindy, two Alberta boys, right? So lots in common.
Not far away.
And how? I mean, I know the answer, but I'd like to hear what you would think. Is this team is hitting on all pistons right now? It's a well-oiled machine. In many people's minds, it's not beating France. It's beating France by how many?
You don't think that. You just keep playing. Don't think like that. Like, that's the wrong way to think.
Well, what would you think?
That's how broadcasters think. They want the show rather than the goal.
Well, you see, this is you grinding me for saying that Sochi was boring. This is what you're doing right now. You're grinding me for.
I'm just telling you, go enjoy playing well. The score is the score, but keep up the same. Set the standard that you want to play at. Don't worry about the opposition, and go enjoy yourself playing well again. Look forward to coming to the rink and playing well, because they're doing it right now.
John, are you looking at the old like minor bantam hockey tournaments where you have pool play and you're like, they beat them by 6 and we beat them, so we should beat them by 9? Is that what you're doing here with Canada and France?
I am telling you right now, and you know this, Ken. At a certain point in the next 5 days, we are going to hear about goal differential. Goal differential is going to be a factor. Maybe not for Canada early on, but goal differential might be a factor after we get through those qualification games and decide what the matchups are for the 3 pool winners and the best second place team against the others. Goal differential is going to matter at some point.
Let's worry about that later on. Let's just go win the game. What do you say?
But
what do you say?
Listen,
John?
that's why, as you know, in the history of the game, Ken, that's why Europeans rarely pulled their goalies for years and years and years.
Hold on, are you doubling down on this like 3 times with Ken on this goal differential thing?
Yeah, I am because
he's made it clear. Just go win the game, John.
I'm just saying, if goal differential and the Americans are plus 13 and we're plus 12 at some point, it may have a factor.
You gotta beat everybody if you're going to win the championship. So let's just keep going.
No reply to that?
No, I've given up now. Well, by the way, he does have, a few credentials that I don't have as a coach.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't stop you from arguing with him.
but it's never stopped me from arguing with Ken. It's never, as Ken will attest over the years, we've never not argued about things. There's just different philosophies. Some of us worry about, the television and the broadcasting and the entertainment, and some of us worry about winning.
All right. Hey, had enough of you guys.
All right. I just want you to know that we're buddies, okay?
Yeah, you take care.
Yeah.
With the NHL app, you can listen to every NHL game right from your phone. And with home and away broadcast feeds, you choose your way to listen.
And he scores!
Whether you're at work, at the gym, or stuck in traffic, the NHL app puts you right in the action all season long. Every team, every game, everywhere you go. Download the NHL app and never miss a moment.
Has Canada played as good as outscoring their opposition 10-1?
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah. Those scores are not flukes. There were no garbage goals. They were efficient. 10-1.
That was my setup question. That was my setup question.
10-1 reflects exactly where Canada is in this tournament.
What are those people that love to pick and poke and find the negative thing? There's always a columnist in every city, used to be, with newspapers, or the online person that's always got to come out from left field with the negative. What are they saying right now? Where does Canada have to be better, or is there anything?
I think the obvious topic will be what happens in goal. I think that Logan Thompson, who was really good, as we talked about with Ken, Logan Thompson would start to have people saying, well, the moment Binnington suffers, that he flails, change the goalie.
You're not going to really have a chance to do that. You've got one more pool game, and then
right.
Would you ever consider alternating through the quarterfinal, semifinal, and the final?
Would you ever do that for the Stanley Cup playoffs if you didn't have to?
No, but this is a little different.
Well, but would you change goalies for Game 7 of a series?
No, but if I was alternating during the season and the first round, and you only have 7 games, I might do it. It's different, right?
Yeah. Oh no,
I'm
not
more
wrong.
open. I'm more open to alternating in this tournament than I would be in a Stanley Cup playoff.
So I think you have answered the question of if there's a discussion point that people will poke at. I think goaltending will be that topic. Because I don't know how you can argue with the players' selection right now. I don't think you can argue with the way the lines are put together right now. I don't think you can argue with, if Morrissey's injury allowed them to put Sanheim in. I don't think you can argue that Morrissey should have played. Well, he couldn't play. We still don't know when he will play. So from that perspective, I think that we have it down to one position, and that is, what does Canada do in the one and done games in goal? I think they've already decided. My personal opinion, I think it's going to be Jordan Binnington, but who knows? That's why they play the games.
Hitch said the Americans are fully aware. They know beyond just reading the scores. They know how good Canada has been. I wonder if there's any added challenge to Team USA to go out and just put one on the board tomorrow. To me, there is.
I wonder. You do wonder. See,
like
I
the
don't
tournament
think,
within the tournament.
Yeah, but I don't think I think the Latvia USA game was not as scripted as well as the Canada Czech game. which is to say that the Americans took a period and a half to get into their routine and get rolling. You do wonder if the Danes, who the Americans play on Saturday, are a young team for the most part. There's not many NHLers on it. They do have an NHL goaltender, and they do have a few NHLers that can play the game, but I'm not sure that they can put up the challenge. What I think, if you're Mike Sullivan, I think what you want to see is from the first time they drop the puck, that they are full throttle. That's what I want to see from the Americans. Don't you?
We had Canada-US gold or bust coming in. Have you moved off that for gold medal contenders? Is the group larger than just those two?
These short tournaments are so unpredictable.
By the way, I don't see anybody else winning gold beyond Canada or the U.S. so far. I haven't seen that yet.
Again, I think it depends what the matchups are in the semifinals. That's why I hate to beat a dead horse, but that's why goal differential becomes a factor, because things may not line up the way everybody wants it to. We all want Canada and the United States. We all think that those are the two best teams. People in Finland and people in Sweden don't necessarily think that way. But, you do feel that, what if Canada and the United States played in a semifinal?
Well, I don't know what Finland is yet. They show me both sides, and Sweden I thought would be more electric than they've been.
Correct. I agree with you. I agree that the Swedes looked today they looked out of sync today.
Yeah, they did. And with that many power plays and that much talent, they should have been better.
They looked disinterested in their first game, and they looked out of sync today. So by their third game, which, by the way, now is a really important game against the Slovaks, will they be in sync? That will be the real challenge. They were better, in my mind. They were better at Four Nations, even though they were a better team there, I thought, than what we've seen through two games at the Olympics.
So if Finland beats Slovakia and Sweden wins their final game, it would be a three-way tie for first place in Pool B. Mm-hmm. You are cheering for that, like 100% hockey, for your goal differential. You want that goal differential to come into play.
Anybody has been around international hockey for years understands that goal differential is a factor.
Are you flexing on me right now by saying that you've been around international hockey for a number of years?
I've been around international hockey for a number of years. Okay?
I didn't know that you were such a nerd for goal differential.
It's the one part of the game that is so vastly different than ours in North America that it's the tiebreaker. There's no ROWs and RWs and everything like that, and shootout losses. It's
well, we still haven't had one of those extra beyond regulation games.
Yeah. And
the games have been close, but we haven't had one of those. That's kind of weird.
And the rules for them are different too.
Yeah, they are. We'll get back at it. Hope you've enjoyed 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon. The YouTube show is available in its entirety. You can watch it, or you can grab the podcast and download it at your favorite podcast provider. Did I read that properly?
That was good. Just every time when you're on the street, just remember, if somebody says 100%, just say hockey.
Hockey. I used it the other day at the golf course.
Excellent.
Somebody said, I thought 100% that was in. I went, hockey. And everyone looked at me. I'm like, okay. And then I explained it to him going to the next hole. Thanks, John. And I hope everybody's enjoying our Olympic content here with Millard and Shannon at 100% Hockey Best on Best.